What's going on, guys? It's Greg here. Just wanted to do a quick video on how to remove carbon buildup from your revolver cylinder, and it's kind of going to be like a product review. I found this nice product that works really well at removing carbon buildup. If you own a revolver, you'll know exactly what I mean. If you're like a revolver guy or aficionado, you'll know what that means. Basically, if you don't know what that means, that's when you're shooting a lot. There's carbon, just like in a car. You have carbon buildup in the cylinders. And that's just from extreme heat and pressure when you're shooting the gun. The carbon just starts to deposit in different places, and revolvers are notorious for it, particularly on the cylinder face, which is right here. The lighting's not the greatest, but you could see there's little markings here. This is actually after I already cleaned it with the solution. But when you shoot it a lot, you'll have these rings here which are like black. It looks like someone took a Sharpie and just kind of drew around the cylinders, the holes. So it's kind of more cosmetic, but one thing that you really need to clean after a while is inside of the cylinder, in the chambers. You're going to want to clean the carbon out after a lot of shooting, because the carbon builds up inside, and that can increase the pressure inside of the cylinder, because the carbon starts to deposit inside of these holes here. Because this is actually like a chamber, because the bullet is actually expelled from here. If you load the cartridge in, the case will probably stop here, and then when it goes off, the bullet comes out through the cylinder and then through the barrel. So all the pressure and heat is in here, and that's where the carbon is going to build up inside. And after a lot of shooting, you'll notice, when you look into your cylinder, you'll notice little black rings inside that are very hard to get out with regular cleaning solvent. And after a while, it could potentially cause a increase in pressure when you're shooting, because it basically reduces the clearance of the bullet, and it increases the pressure. So this could be potentially dangerous. So you want to clean that out. And the product that I'm gonna kind of review today and show you what I found works best is this thing called, I think it's Slip 2000. And what I like about it is it's non-hazardous, non-flammable, biodegradable, orange scented, made in the USA. Removes carbon, grease, lead, and plastic. So it's basically a organic cleaner for your weapons and your guns. You remove the carbon with this, and it's non-toxic, so you don't have to worry about vapors or anything that's extremely corrosive. Now this is corrosive to your weapons, so you want to make sure you keep it off of like the wood or any kind of grips, any kind of plastic, your scope, things like that. It is a little bit corrosive even though it's organic, so you also want to make sure that you're working quickly. You don't want to like leave this for too long, especially if you're cleaning like your bore. You want to kind of clean that quickly, usually within 2 to 5 minutes. You don't want to let it sit longer than 2 to 5 minutes based on what it says in the directions when you're cleaning the bore, because it could corrode the inside. So this stuff is really good. I took a lot of carbon off of my cylinder here. Before I cleaned it, I had like black rings. I wish I had a before picture, but there was like these black rings around the cylinders here, the chambers. Now it's just like a faded gray color, and it really didn't take that much effort. So I'll show you how I clean it. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take the cylinder off, which, if you don't know how to do that, there's usually a screw on the other side that swings open. So you have a screw here, and I'm just going to remove the cylinder first. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Let's see, hopefully the screwdriver works. Hold on one second. just had to get a thinner screwdriver. The screwdriver head was too thick. So I'm just going to take the screw off. And then the cylinder is just going to slide right off. Got the crane right here. Then you got your cylinder. Alright, and just make sure you don't lose your screw. So now what I can do is I took it off, and I have access to cleaning it. It's much easier to clean rather than having it attached. And as you can see, it's much cleaner than it was. Like I said, I wish I had before pictures, but it was basically like black. I probably put I put a lot of rounds through this thing, so it's not a big deal. That's just cosmetic. The main thing is inside the chambers. Like I said, you want to clean that out so you don't get the carbon buildup inside. So the way I use this is very simple. If it's really bad, you can actually dip this whole thing, the whole cylinder, into the bottle and let it sit for like 15 minutes. That's what the instructions say. But you don't really need to do that. All you need to do is just take a little bit of you open the bottle, shake it up, and then you just take a bore brush. Alright, just going to put some gloves on. Even though it's organic, you want to always protect your hands when you're cleaning firearms, because solvents are bad for the skin. So plus you don't want your hands to smell for like the whole day afterwards. So I got my gloves, and I just got a basic bore brush. But the first thing I'm going to do before I do that is just going to move over here now. Just have a rag here. Going to take the cylinder, and I'm going to run a patch. I'm going to run a patch of the Slip 2000 solution through the cylinder holes. Just got to get my proper cleaning gear here. So I'm just going to put a patch through there. So this stuff is really good. It worked for me, and I'm not getting sponsored by this company or anything. I'm a small channel, obviously, so I'm just trying to share with you guys something that may help you out. And this isn't just for revolvers. You could use this for any firearm that has carbon buildup. This stuff is good. It has like a nice smell to it. So I got my patch here wet. I'm just going to run it through the cylinder, all the holes, all the chambers. You don't have to go crazy with it. I'm going to pay particular attention to the side where the bullets are detonating, where where the end of the bullets are, not where the primer side is, but the bullet side of the cylinder. And you may have to re-dip your patch. And just, I'm basically just putting it through, letting it, getting a good amount of stuff in there, and just make sure it's nice and moist in there. And then I'm going to put a little bit on the outside, on the cylinder face, if I want to get that off too. Just going to put a little bit on the outside here, maybe a little more. All right. And then you're just going to let this sit for about 2 to 3 minutes. That's good enough for me. I let it sit for about 2 to 3 minutes. And then what you're going to do is you're going to switch you're going to take your patch attachment here off your brush, or off your rod, and you're going to put a bore brush in there. And you're just going to use some elbow grease. You're going to, stroke vigorously inside the chambers. And you're going to also scrub if you want to get those burned cylinder rings off the face of the cylinder. You're going to scrub with, you could use this, or you just any kind of copper brush. You don't want to scrub too hard, because then you can leave like little scratch marks, because this stuff is a little bit, it kind of it's a little bit corrosive. So if you scrub too much, it'll almost look like you sanded it. So I'm just gonna let this sit another minute or two, and while I'm doing that, I'll just talk to you guys about the product here. So basically, it has a dipping tray that comes with it, And this is if you want to like fill this up with the solution, and then you can put like small parts in there. You know, let's say if you have like a trigger group, or you know, a hammer, whatever, different parts, you know, you can dip it in there and just let it soak. You could also literally take parts and just put it in the bottle. Like I've taken this cylinder and put it in for like 15 minutes. But you really don't need to do the dipping unless it's really bad. It has a nice scent, you know, it smells good. So, all right, I think I'm ready to start scrubbing. So I'm going to basically vigorously scrub this, you know, the inside. You know, don't be afraid. And, you know, I'm just going to demonstrate with this one here. You know, I don't want to really take up too much of you guys' time, but, you know, basically you want to scrub it, you know. You want to give it some good scrubbing action there, you know. And you can also take actually what you should do, forgot to mention, you take this brush and you just dip it in. And then after you dip it in, then you can go in and out after it's soaked about 2 to 5 minutes, you know. And just do this for a couple, you know, maybe 30 seconds to a minute. And that should get almost everything out of your cylinder. You'll start to see black stuff coming out, dripping out. That's all the carbon coming out. You know, if it's really built up, you're going to have to repeat this process, this step a few times. You're going to have to scrub, clean, you know, clean it off. You know, you may have to rinse it with water, or you can even have like a bucket so you can clean it off right after you're done, because you don't want to let this stuff sit too long because it's corrosive. And then just keep repeating, you know, and just keep scrubbing, keep applying, let it sit until everything comes out. And you know, really it should all come out within, you know, this didn't take me more than an hour to clean everything off. And you know, that's basically it, guys. I just wanted to show you this product. It's a Slip 2000 Carbon Killer. It's non-toxic, organic. It'll clean the carbon off your revolver cylinder. It's the best way I've seen. It's better than using, you know, other strong chemicals that may, you know, eat away at the metal and are very toxic. And this works just as well. So, cost about $25 a bottle with shipping from Midway, USA. So I highly recommend it if you own a revolver. And you want to get that carbon off and make it look like it's brand new. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. God bless.